Hey, thank you for not believing in me. Yes, Lord. Anybody listening right now, don't never let nobody's opinion of you determine yourself.
What's up, everybody? It's your dude Lorenzo coming to you with another Let That Marinate podcast episode. Yes, it's been a minute. I know I've been saying I'm gonna get back on it. I know, but I'm gonna get a little bit vulnerable. I'm gonna get a little bit transparent. As some of you may know, it's Men's Mental Health Month, so I kind of want to speak on that a little bit because I had my own personal mental health situation occur. Uh, Part of the reason why I haven't been doing my podcast, really why I haven't been doing much of anything, acting, working out, like the stuff that I love to do. I haven't been doing much of it, because I just haven't been motivated. I haven't been inspired to do any of it because mentally I just wasn't in a good space. Mentally I felt drained, I felt overwhelmed, and one night it kind of got a little worse. Anxiety was kicking in, and I'm like, man, I can't do it. I just can't go anymore because aside from that, there's also my regular job. I work in the hotel industry. I work the front desk, so of course I'm you know um, coming into contact with a lot of people. And that's a lot of personalities, a lot of attitudes, a lot of spirits. That in itself is enough to drive you crazy. And, combine that with life and, my acting career and everything else I got going on, it just really overwhelmed me. So, one day, I was supposed to go to work that day, but I was still feeling overwhelmed. So, I called my job and told them, hey, I can't make it today. I'm not feeling too good, so I just need the day. And thankfully my boss was like, I'll cover for you. Take the time you need to get better, and we'll talk with you later. So I just took that day to recharge, replenish, gather myself, breathe a little bit, get my mind back into a good space. I disconnected from social media, had my phone on D&D, because I just needed a day to myself. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to share with my fellows, you know, um, because I know a lot of us we've been forced to believe that you know expressing our emotions and our feelings is considered weakness. Asking for help is considered failing. We were taught to man up and just deal with whatever it is that we got going on. And because of that, a lot of us have harbored so many different emotions and different feelings on the inside that it just grew and it just, it festered into something more. And now we've conditioned ourselves to believe that, as a man, we're not supposed to express our feelings and emotions. We're taught to man up. And I felt the need as a man to debunk that stigma because when you're not okay, yes, you have to deal with it, but you have to deal with it in a healthy way. If you need to talk to somebody about it, please do so. I'm in therapy myself. I'm doing the work to get better because I realize that the longer I continue to hold in what's really going on, the worse it's going to be. Because if you continue to hold in all that stuff, it's going to cause you to implode, which will eventually cause you to explode. And now you're all over the place. You're angry, you're mad, you're projecting all of that onto others. You know what I mean? And it makes it hard for you to perform in the way that you need to, and it's hard to function in the way that you need to. Which is why it's important, that you acknowledge when you're not okay. Recognize that you're not okay. Recognize that you're not okay, and acknowledge that you're not okay. And then you take the necessary steps in order to be okay. And I had to learn to do that. I first had to, recognize that the things that I was dealing with, the depression, the anxiety, and just not happy. Like I had to recognize that. I had to, because it was I couldn't understand why it was hard for me to just, you know, be happy, and why do I get angry so much? Why do I feel like I'm just bitter about everything? You know, and I had to recognize that okay, it's some things that you've gone through that's put you in this situation, that's put you in this space that you're in. You know, so you have to acknowledge what those things are. And once I started doing that, you know, I acknowledged what happened and what put me in that space, and then I just, had to figure out how can I get better, what can I do, to, you know, not allow these things to keep me in the space that I'm in, you know. So yes, I'm in therapy. I'm talking with someone, and it's been very helpful. Um, at first I was a bit reserved about it because I've done therapy before, and didn't have good experiences with them. So of course I had my reservations about it, but I said, I figured, why not give it another try? I didn't want to, completely dismiss the idea of seeking therapy because at the end of the day, if I'm trying to, get better, if I'm trying to grow and evolve into a better person, then I'm going to have to do the work, and therapy was something that I felt would help with that, and it has been. So, um, but essentially, you're going to have to, do the work for yourself, though. And it does start with you. Again, you have to recognize what's going on. You have to acknowledge those things that has you in the space that you're in. You have to be honest with yourself at the end of the day. Like, yeah, you can go and talk to people. You can go to therapy, but if you're not open to receive, what's being said, if you're not open to, them, trying to, help you out in a situation, if you're not open to receive that, it's not going to help. Which is why it starts with you. Which is why you have to, you know, uh, admit to when things are not right. Like mentally, if you're not good mentally, admit that. Admit that you're not okay. It's okay to do that. You know what I'm saying? It really is okay. You know, and as a man, as a black man who who's had a few run-ins with mental health situations, I had to understand that I had to understand the importance of prioritizing my mental health. You know, which is why a lot of times when if I'm not working, if I finally have a moment to just sit down and just not do anything, I'm going to take full advantage of that. I'm going to do everything that I can to protect my peace, my mental health, which is why a lot of times my phone is on D&D. I don't get on social media a lot. Um, I just take time to rest. I take time to just, you know, rest my body, rest my mental. You know, I do whatever I got to do to shift my energy and shift my mental back into a good space. So, uh, to all my fellas out there, man, it is okay to admit when you're not okay. As a matter of fact, um, it takes great strength to do that. Again, a lot of people feel like it's weakness, but it's not actually. It's a sign of strength. It's a sign of courage. It's bravery for you to actually admit when you're not okay. And once you come to that realization that you know you're not less than a man just because you're admitting that, the better you're going to become. You know, the more you're going to evolve into the man that God created you to be. And yes, I get it. Men are naturally the providers, the protectors, and we always want to make sure everybody else is good. But at some point, though, you have to take the time to make sure you're good. Because if you're not good to yourself, you're not going to be good to anybody. And a lot of times that's pretty much all we focus on. We just focus on making sure everybody else is good. We make sure that we're performing in the manner that we have to make sure everybody's good. And then it's like once we're done with that, we're pretty much left with nothing. You know what I'm saying? We're tired. We don't want to do anything. But We can't keep doing that to ourselves. At some point, you have to take time for yourself. It's okay to, say to your family, hey, give me a minute. Let me have a moment to myself. Let me do this for me. Even with your job, it's okay to take a mental day. Because if you go to work and you're not in the best of space, you're not going to be able to perform your job in the manner that you have to, and then your chances are you're going to get penalized for that. You know what I'm saying? So it's okay to take a mental day. It really is. It's important. So I encourage all the fellows, make sure you take time for yourself. Make sure you are prioritizing your mental health because it's just as important, if not the most important. I know you want to make sure everybody is good around you, but my dude, make sure you are good. Make sure you are good. Make sure you are okay. You're not wrong for wanting to be selfish for a bit and just make sure that you're okay. You're not wrong for that. Don't feel guilty about that. It's okay to just, put some things to the side for a second. It's okay to put people to the side for a second. Because at the end of the day, you have to make sure that you're okay. You have to make sure that you're good. So please do that. Again, this is Men's Mental Health Month. So to anybody out there, who has a loved one or, family members, whether it's your father, your uncle, your brother, your cousin, or maybe it's a friend, maybe it's a coworker, make sure you take time out to ask them if they're okay. Check on them, because I promise you, a lot of them, we do suffer in silence for real, because we feel like nobody cares. A lot of times when people reach out to us, it's for a reason. Whether they need something, whether they need some advice, or maybe they need some help with something, like whatever it is. A lot of times, all that's expected of us is to just show up. That's all that matters to people. So yes, a lot of us, we believe that nobody really cares, which is why a lot of us, we don't talk. We don't talk about our feelings. We don't express anything, what we got going on, because we feel like no one cares. So I'm challenging everybody right now to change that. Reach out to a male figure and just simply check on them. Check to see if they're okay. Check to see if they need anything. Genuinely reach out and just ask them if they're okay. I promise you, that'll make a world of difference for them and for you as well. Because you'll probably end up finding out a lot of things that you didn't know. So that's the episode for today. Again, thank y'all so much for the love and support. Not going to promise that I'm going to... Well, I will say this. Yes, I will get better with doing more episodes. I'm back in a better mental space now. I'm back, on my grind. I went and worked out today. It's my third day back in the gym. It's been like a month and a half, something like that, since I worked out. So I've gone 3 days in a row, so that feels like a huge accomplishment. I'm feeling pretty good about it. I'm just going to keep it going, keep that momentum going, man. Because it's all about mind, body, and spirit, taking care of yourself in every aspect there is. And I hope y'all are doing the same. In the meantime, until next time, y'all be great. Make sure you protect your peace. And remember to prioritize your mental health, for sure. Salute.
Hey, thank you for not believing in me. Yes, Lord. Anybody listening right now, don't never let nobody's opinion of you determine your